Hello everyone, this is FUTV, Forever United TV. We are live Friday evening looking ahead to what is expected to be a very, very busy weekend ahead of pre-season coming back next week. Are we excited for players returning? We are actually not going to see certain players return, which is our top story tonight. Ruben Amorim telling Manchester United's board, if you can't do your job, I'm going to do it for you. Well, not so much, but Matt, he has told 5 Manchester United players not to come back to training while they try and find other clubs in July. The whole plan behind that and deeply explained coming up. First of all, Jadon Sancho, one of them players. I did just give one away, didn't I? It's kind of easy to explain who they actually are, but still, Jadon Sancho apparently very close now, and tonight's updates on him coming up as well to a move to Juventus. It is edging closer. God, every single day I am crossing everything for that man leaving his football club. I still cannot get there yet, though. I'm not. I need more significant stuff to come out that tells me that he's on his way. We'll bring you the up-to-date news, though, which is looking even more positive. I'll say that at least. Rashford won't wait for Barcelona. What's happening there? We'll talk about that as well. New goalkeeper in at Manchester United, laughed off by some comments earlier on today, but there's more and more stories coming out this evening about Manchester United's new potential goalkeeper next season. John Victor. Never trust a man with 2 first names. They are. It's just tripped me up straight away. That's right, innit? Anyway, jokes aside, let's get into the show, everybody. Get into the live chat. Talk to me, everyone. Give me your thoughts on the day's events and where we're actually at. We will touch on Bryan Mbeumo and what's going on as well. Still no major update, although Ben Jacobs has given us a tiny little update as to what is happening with this deal. Some saying it's a matter of hours away. We'll get to that when it comes. Anyway, get into the comment section, everybody. If you're playing catch-up, let me know. Get in the comments, everyone. Talking to me. Live chat, it's up to you to make your show of it, to get your conversations and debates going. I'll jump in every so often. If you've got any questions for me, pop them in there as well, and anything that you want to talk about. And let's get on with what is actually going down with United today, starting with the mega news which came about. We all seen the video on social media. If you haven't, Manchester United released a video on their own social media accounts of Ruben Amorim and his coaching staff walking back into the Carrington training ground. The new complex still not completed, still waiting for that to be finished. I think that might be after the tour we're hearing, so not quite there yet with the new training ground, which is expected this month to be finished at United. So Ruben is in, and the news straight out from this, the journalists jumping all over it, all the journalists seemingly coming back from holiday now, and so all of the news has started to circulate again, and we were waiting, everybody talking, including myself, about that horrible scenario of Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Malacia, Anthony, all of these players coming back to Carrington next Monday. Not the case. It's not the case. Ruben Amorim has told these players they have got extra time away. I don't know if it's a case of don't bother coming back, I hate you. I don't think it's that severe. Although in his inside, he's probably thinking, don't even bother, useless, so-and-so, whatever you want to call whatever Ruben Amorim's thinking right now. But when he's made his mind up, Ruben, you know where he stands. And he makes it very clear, doesn't he? Anyway, these players being given extra time to find other clubs. That's basically what they've been told by Manchester United. By the way, on Marcus Rashford and Matheus Cunha and that number 10 jersey, Marcus Rashford was informed that the club were giving that jersey to Matheus Cunha on actual, can I have it, please? I want that number 10 jersey. Demands, not demands from Cunha, but he has made it very clear to United he wanted a number 10 shirt. We discussed this weeks ago when he signed, but Rashford apparently was told in advance, so there's no drama there at all before anyone makes any big deal out of it. I don't think they would anyway, but I think Rashford just getting a real message from Manchester United. He's not wanted at this football club anymore. I think Ruben has made that extremely clear to him that he is not coming back to United. There was a story out earlier on from Chris Wheeler, and this kind of tripped him up a little bit because I made a joke about it on Twitter, and the line came out from Chris Wheeler in his article saying that Marcus Rashford is coming back to Carrington to train and give absolutely everything and train to the highest intensity possible and give everything and play a major part in Manchester United's pre-season. No, you're not, son. And Chris Wheeler had to sort of backstep on that one a little bit later on and then come out like the rest of the journalists when United released the news, and they would have released the news because every journalist was reporting it, that Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Anthony, Tyrell Malacia and Alejandro Garnacho are not coming back to United. It is so they can find other clubs and move on. None of them players are wanted, and United are selling them all, and they want to sell all of them, not loan any of them. That's the message coming from Manchester United. Sell, sell, sell. That's all they want to do. Get them players out of the door. So, obviously, that still doesn't mean that these players have left. That still doesn't mean that we've got deals for them on the table and offers there waiting to go. What it does mean, though, when you think about this, and Chris Wheeler then picked up on this and quite cleverly brought up the point that Manchester United leave for their American tour they start pre-season on the 19th. They leave on about the 23rd. I think it's the 20th. So probably just after Sweden when we play Leeds in the first pre-season game. About the 20th, 21st, they leave for the States to play that competition with Bournemouth, West Ham and Everton. And at that point then, the Manchester United players that have been exiled or told not to come back, then obviously able to come back to Carrington and train on their own and try and find another club. They are there for the recovery equipment and the recovery and everything like that, medical, all of that. Obviously, they're contracted to Manchester United, but Ruben has said that them players will not be coming back and participating in any way, shape or form with Manchester United's first team squad, and this pretty much confirms that none of them 5 players will now be on the tour. I feel like we're in a position now where, like we've said before, what will Ruben Amorim do? What will he do when these players return? Because we knew that this was going to happen. Well, they're not coming back. He's told them no. They've got access to Carrington to use the recovery rooms and everything like that, like I said, but they won't be training with the first team. They have to train on their own and keep their own fitness up. He has made his mind up that them 5 players are nowhere near the new squad. So he's played his card. It's like we couldn't find clubs for them quickly enough. We are working on it, and we're working as quickly as we can. But Ruben has said still, no. Whether or not that works for us in trying to sell these players on, I don't think it will, and I'll explain that in a moment. But Manchester United will leave for the tour. These players will not be back at Carrington in time to go on the tour. Ruben doesn't want them there, so officially, these players will not be part of anything to do with Manchester United's pre-season games whatsoever. All 5 of them will be sold 100% guaranteed this summer. Guaranteed maybe is not the right choice of word there. I'll be honest, when I said it and I didn't believe in it myself, I still think loans may be necessary, and that's just my opinion from the situation that we've been speaking about on all of these players over the last, 2 months now, from May going through into July where we are now, and nobody's convinced that anybody's going to pump up the money to give Manchester United what they want on any of these players. But that's the scenario where we're at. Ruben has laid down the law again. He's not messing around. I love that about him. He's not even giving these players a chance to come back and rekindle any sort of relationship that was there before when he first walked in the door. I like it. It's a man who's made his mind up and knows what he wants. Unless you're going to put the work in, like he said at the start of his time at Manchester United, you are not going to feature. You're not going to get defended by this manager. You're not going to get any time with this manager. He will defend them all the way to the end until he gets fired if they put the effort and they have the right attitude and work rate in training and in everything that they do at Manchester United. We've seen that. Remember that press conference? The way you eat, the way you walk, the way you dress. Remember it? Back when he first started, when we had an issue with Garnacho and Rashford, he picked up on things about how them players were actually treating the staff and how they were talking to other players like they were above everybody else. Remember the gloves with Rashford? Throwing him on the floor to his assistants instead of passing them to him, like you pick them up. I don't do that stuff. You know what I mean? The attitude situations that have popped up every so often at United while Ruben's been there. It's like he's just been assessing everything throughout the last 6 months. And that takes me back to what Omar Barada actually said. When he said like the last 6 months and the pain that Ruben has suffered in the Premier League has taught us a lot. And what we need to do this summer is very clear. Well, they haven't managed to get the summer that they wanted just yet because we haven't managed to sell these players, but they're downright not coming back into this football club in any way at all in terms of featuring with the rest of this squad that Ruben is actually working with. I think that's been made abundantly clear now with this news that's come today, and I'm for it. I don't mind it. I do have an issue there though in moving these players on because no bids at all for Garnacho, not a one yet. So it's a dangerous game we're playing here. Ben Jacobs, I heard earlier on talking on Gimme Sports, saying that Manchester United's price for Garnacho is 60 million. It's down from 70, which I've heard the other week, but still, Let's be honest. Is there anyone in there in the chat right now, in the live chat, that thinks that Alejandro Garnacho is worth 60 million? Be honest. Is he worth it? Even if you love the guy, would you think that someone, after what's happened and the fallout, is going to pay 60 million? So I'm blaming the club and Garnacho here. I'm not just going in on him. I think the club could have... Then again, I understand where Ruben is with the squad. He doesn't want that kind of attitude in the player. The club could have done more in lowering the price for Garnacho and getting him out the door, is my opinion. I think they've caused their own problem here, United. They trusted Amorim, and he has exiled these players. No, you're not coming back. Find another club. Here's some extra time to go find another football club. Go for it. All fair. No problem. But who is going to come back and give United what they want if they clearly see that Ruben has just kicked these players out when he doesn't want them? They're surplus to requirements. They're not going to play. If they're not going to play, surely they're not going to be worth anything to other clubs coming in to buy them. So I've got a problem with it a tiny little bit. Garnacho for me is a 40 to 50 million pound player, and I think that gets him sold instantly. And you've got nearly 50 million's worth of absolute pure profit in your bank, and you can go out and buy the players that you want. Put a sell-on clause into his contract. Maybe he'll get another 15 or 20 million if he does turn out to be that prospect that everybody says he's going to be. And then you're proven right in putting that price tag on him that he is now at 40 million, and then adding 20 million to him in a sell-on clause or something like that later down the line. Because if United do get 20 million back for him later down the line, if he does do well, then you've been proved right and you got the right price for him. But at 40 million now, when he falls off and he doesn't turn out to be that player, which I think will happen personally, more than him turning into a superstar that's worth 70 million, then United have got the right price this summer. I think that's where United should be looking at it. I'm no director of football or man in the know or anything like that with like football transfers and stuff, but I think the basics of a transfer are there for everybody to see. And everybody knows that nobody's going to buy Garnacho for 60 bleeding million. You're off your rocker if you think the kid's worth that much. He hasn't done enough to warrant the 60 million price tag. 40 to 50, I'm happy with. And he walks out the door with money in the bank for Man United. And that's a substantial amount of money for us to then reinvest into this football team and give Ruben what he needs. Because that, like we said all along, is pure profit and it works out well. Sancho, on the other hand, problem from the start. I mean, I've seen Nate Salt actually put... I've seen Nate Salt put something out earlier on. Who is the hardest, Manchester United fans, who is the hardest player to sell out of the 5 nightmares? Actually, I've just seen some news pop up now. The club claims that Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, Anthony and Tyrone Malacia have asked to leave the club, but some players' camps deny this and say they would be more than happy to return on Monday. It doesn't matter. That's from The Athletic, by the way, that's reported that. It doesn't matter. I think Ruben's told them no. Yeah, of course they would be happy to come back. Let's see who would be happy to come back. Probably Malacia, Anthony. Yeah, I'd be all right with them two coming back. They didn't really cause us too much problem. Malacia's probably one of Rashford's pals that hangs around with him, and it's probably just not good enough in the end for Ruben. Anthony, just probably not good enough for the Premier League in the end. He'd come back and train. I don't think they've caused half as many problems as the other 3 have. So, yeah, I'm happy for that. But Ruben, down the line. No problem. If what you're looking at, I feel, is... I think we're basically, at the moment, I think we've just got to back our manager and say, look, if he doesn't want them involved, the club have to now back him and get rid of them. And that's what I've just said. Lower the prices, get reasonable. You are looking at misfits. Sounds harsh again, doesn't it? They're professional footballers and they have got something about them, but they're not going to feature for Man United. You have to be real, I think, when it comes to the pricing and what you're actually hoping for. We have actually got a poll running right now. There's 1,000 votes on it already, actually. Which player will be the hardest to sell? So, in terms of hardest to sell, let's break that down how we want this poll to run here right now. Everything. The wages he's on, the problems he's caused, the price tag United have set, put everything together from both player and club side, like I've just explained, because this isn't all on the players, it's on the club as well, and we have to remember that. Ineos have got part to blame, as well as the Glazers and the players, and Ruben to a certain extent. We've all created this nightmare situation. All of the blame, most of the blame is on the previous regime and the players, to be honest. That's how I would see it anyway, but you all know that already. Which player is hardest to sell? Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho or Anthony? At the moment, Marcus Rashford is absolutely landsliding this vote at 53%, followed by Jadon Sancho at 28, Garnacho 15, and Antony 3. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that poll, by the way. Sensible people in my chat, yet again, talking absolute sense there, I feel. And drop your comments in as well. We're going to run a few stories out and then we're going to get into the chat tonight. So make it stand out, everybody. Get your good comments in there. And of course, please do comment and chat with the other members of FUTV in there as well. Other subscribers in there. Get your conversations going on. And make sure that you do actually talk to each. Be nice as well. Well, you don't have to be nasty. If you don't agree with someone, just have to be nasty. There's different ways of approaching it. My God, if you looked at my chat before and what I got back from my videos, Jesus, you think I was like Prime Minister or something? Anyway, let's get into that. One of them players that is being talked about at Manchester United and is close, apparently, very close to leaving, Jadon Sancho. I'm just going to read up on some things now. Let me just see what this is now. I'm just checking. There's news popping in all of the time on this one. Right, okay, so Jadon Sancho, the situation and where we're actually at with him now is it's getting interesting. It's getting very, very close to a deal being agreed for Jadon Sancho now. And where we're actually at is that today, obviously, conversations were going on again. It is now rumoured that Manchester United and Juventus, we've kind of always known this, 25 million euros is agreed between the clubs. Now, what I was explaining last night with this was that if that bid is official and does come in, Juventus would be confident in getting a personal terms agreed with Jadon Sancho. Now, we still don't know if Jadon Sancho has actually signed this or is agreeing to this deal on the wages. The one that I seen before and that was reported was, I think it was in the region of 8 million euros or 8 million in terms of Jadon Sancho's wages, which is close to what he wanted, but not quite there. It's up to him. He's going to have to take a pay cut, like Romano said. Simple as. And that's a definite. He wants Juventus, though. So, Jadon Sancho wanted a certain amount of money. Juventus couldn't give it him. Now, what Manchester United could have done, they could have accepted the loan and subsidised it, but they've stood firm and told Juventus, we're selling him. And this is that stance that I've been talking about constantly now, about Manchester United making this summer the foundation to what's coming. Remember when Ruben said it? I know, and some people say this is boring, you talk about the same thing over and over, but I keep going back just to add a bit of context to what I'm actually saying. And I don't just say these things willy-nilly. Ruben Amorim, in all of his press conferences, discussions with Wilcox, when asked about transfers through the months of April and May, constantly asked about improving the team, and he always said the same thing, not making the same mistakes again, making sure that these deals are the right deals for Manchester United, getting young players in, getting two big players in, all of that. But one line that he did say in them press conferences, and I've been in a few of Ruben's press conferences as well, as you all know, and one thing he did say was, though, that this transfer window was the foundation for the future of Manchester United summers to come. The one chance, with no international football, with nothing in the way, a full pre-season of training and getting the players ready for a season, and no European football on top of that gives him more time. This was the summer, but it wasn't just about the players that he's got, it was about what we were bringing in. And I think this has come into this window, and United have been very, very strict and rock solid with their approach to any transfer that they've come across. And again, I think this is the case with Sancho. We keep talking about the loan offer, and it's swaying me from side to side, and I'm reporting different stories all of the time. By the way, everybody, again, in terms of them comments and you coming back and some of them being abusive, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't at all. But I'm not the one who's making these reports. I'm just talking about them as a fan channel, and getting other fan opinions on them. So ease off or do one. But then again, I don't want you to do one, because even your stupid negative comments all help the channel anyway. So keep it up being an absolute numpty if you want to be that person. Thank you still. It doesn't bother me and won't affect me one bit. But this is the point now where we're at with United. These transfers, it has to be the right deals for this football club. And then going into the next window and the window after and the window after that, everybody knows that United are not messing around anymore. Everybody knows that Manchester United are down to real business, and they're not going to take, well, they're not so much no for an answer, but they're not going to shift on basically just trying to get a deal done and buckling at the worst price possible like we have done before. I would love it if Manchester United would just get a sale for Jadon Sancho. It would be such a big moment for this club. It sounds pathetic saying that, I know. But we all know, as Man United fans who follow him deeply, who want to know everything about this football club and are fully invested into this football club, know that selling Jadon Sancho and getting that price for him is absolutely huge for changing the momentum of transfer windows to come for this football club. It is such a big deal, more than the others. And Rashford is a nightmare situation for United. But Sancho, this is a player that hasn't played for the last 2 years while being paid by this football club. For Manchester United, he's not played for us for 2 years. He's about to join his 5th club in as many years. And we overpaid for this guy massively. And he's about to go. It's the turning of a new page for United when Sancho leaves. And I've said that before, I know I have. But that's how significant this is for me. And I think this is the same for a lot of Manchester United fans. Fed up of coming second best in a transfer window and these players getting what they want. Ruben today has made a landmark decision for me. And this is the first time that this has ever happened that I can remember while supporting Manchester United. That Ruben has told 5 first-team players that this football club is paying, let me just get this right, when we think about this, this football club is paying near enough, I think it works out around about £800,000 to £850,000 a week in wages. Don't bother coming back to pre-season training. You're not wanted. That's our manager. And if anybody didn't believe in what Ruben Amorim was trying to create at this football club, there is a proof there in what he has just done on day one, in telling these players not to come, that he knows exactly what's necessary and needed at this football club. He's telling this board with these actions, get them out, because they're going to be here wasting away. I don't care. And if they're backing him, you expect this next few weeks to be an absolute bonanza, everybody, because this is why I love Ruben Amorim, because yes, his tactics are questionable. Yes, his system and everything it needs to show something this season. And I'll be there in the stands with every other United fan debating and complaining and moaning about things not going right. Well, obviously, being positive and cheering as well. But I need to see more from him there. But off the pitch, the first man to ever actually get things right, I feel, in the right attitude and setup on what he wants in a pre-season and what's going forward with his football club. That's Amorim. I love him for that. Easily the best fan channel on YouTube, says Jack Jones. Thank you, Jack. Absolutely love comments like that, as you all know. Thank you, everybody, for all of the positive. Like, there are the minority of numpties, like I said, but the majority of this subscriber base is absolutely, it's Friday night, innit? Shit hot, I'll say it. Absolutely mint is where we're at. Anyway, moving forward, talking about Jadon Sancho again. Deal close, and it does look positive. It really does. And I say it again, if we get any sort of official offer from Juventus, expect that probably to be a sign that Jadon is close to personal terms. That's how you've got to. That's how I think you've got to look at this. And like Romano said, they're not going to pay the full wages. They want him. The price is right with Juventus and United. This is what Romano's saying, so we can take this as a positive and a definite. Manchester United just need Jadon Sancho to bring them wages down and accept that his career is on a knife edge right now. Decide to make that change, Jadon. Go away with some dignity out of your time at Manchester United. Drop them wages and move on and let everybody move forward. Stop rinsing this football club for every single penny. You've earned none of it. Absolutely none of it. Anyway, let's get into some of these comments. I'm just going to scroll up. We had a lot to talk about there, so let's get into this. Garnacho, 70 million and only wants a Prem. Others willing to go abroad and much cheaper. Also, Garnacho's attitude will put clubs off and will make clubs want to lowball us. He had a crap season. Went backwards. Maybe on that, Mark, with that comment, thank you, mate. Maybe on Garnacho, United start high, and then they know that they're going to get lowballed, and it comes in at 45, 50, maybe something like that. If you start high, then someone who comes in for it and shows an interest, maybe they come in and say, oh, no, we're not paying that much. You might get like 45, and all of a sudden, you've got 45 in the bank. All right, let's try and get over 50. Negotiate it up. Maybe that's United's angle on that. Let's see what else we got in here. Ghana can't stay in England because the only deal available is 60 plus 5 million in add-ons. Lawrence, who's that, mate? Lawrence Berry. I don't know who that is for, that deal. I've not heard that one at all. Sancho should think a life short career is shorter. Think of Jota. Don't waste. I think you're supposed to say there. Waste career over money. Good point. You're off your rocker if you don't think he's worth 60 million, says Jamie. Why? Tell me why he's 60 million. Because he got the Puskas Award for one overhead kick. Tell me why Garnacho is worth 60 million. Let's see if he's actually got that in this comment here. How is Bino Kittens worth? Don't know what that is. Is that supposed to be Gittens? Yeah, probably. It's a typo. I'll let you off with that, Jamie. I think your iPhone or whatever you're typing on has had you there. How is Jamie Gittens worth that? What Chelsea paid? Did F all in Bundesliga? It's because he's 20 and has potential. That's what you pay for, mate. No, not having that at all. 20 and a problem. That's what that is. 20 with an attitude. You don't pay 60 million for that, mate. I'm sorry, Jamie. I'm going to have to say I disagree on that one, buddy. I don't think that is the case at all. And Gittens, look, he's helped Borussia Dortmund this season. Obviously, they're in a miles better place. They're in the Club World Cup as well. I don't watch enough of the Bundesliga to say that Jamie Gittens is worth that money either, mate. All I'm going to comment on here is what you think about Garnacho. And if you're an opposition club, and this is the way I'm looking at it, would you pay that for Garnacho, knowing, with everything that I've explained, and I said at the start, mate, that it's not just on Garnacho's side, it's the Ruben Amorims and the clubs as well. And I asked the question, altogether, is he worth 60 million? And the answer is no. Because if I'm someone else looking in on this, I'm going, I ain't giving you 60 million for Garnacho, United. It's not reasonable. It's not actually sensible. And I don't think productive to offer Manchester United that much money for Garnacho. If we can just do a transfer in an efficient manner, it would be a great thing considering how the Glazers weaken the club. Regular sales is the key now. Look, when you look at Manchester United going forward, when we get rid of, say, these 5 players, and on top of that, next summer, you'll have Casemiro leaving, you'll have Harry Maguire leaving. The real old guard is being moved on. No disrespect to Maguire and Casemiro, by the way, when I say that. I just mean that they are 30-plus-year-old players who have seen out their contracts. Thank you. On your way. Sensible football for Manchester United. By this time next summer, Manchester United, if they're going to go with this plan and execute it properly from now, will have all of them players out of the door. There'll be no one left. And then we're looking at, oh yeah, a real football club. When we're looking at players that actually carry value and are going to give something to Manchester United, this is massive. This summer is so big. And Ruben doing this and just saying for the sake of getting a good team morale together, isolating these players and we've still not sold them, kind of tells you where he wants to go. He has isolated the problem. He knows what the problem is and we're going for it. We're going to cut it right off. Nearly at 500 likes already, which is epic. We are less than 100 away from 89,000 subscribers as well. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button as well, everybody. I did mention earlier on regarding the Marcus Rashford situation. I'm going to move on to him next. I said that Cunha did request that number 10 shirt. It's been made clear by the football club that Marcus Rashford's representatives were made aware that his number 10 shirt was going to Cunha. No drama, no situation there at all to be made out of. Rashford was happy with it. And Cunha is moving into Manchester United's number 10 shirt. Cannot wait for this. But on top of that, Marcus Rashford and the update on him. I did say at the top of the show, we had a little update on Marcus Rashford. Obviously, I did the midday show regarding Rashford now having a clear pathway to Barcelona. Obviously, Nico Williams has signed a new deal at Athletic Bilbao, and that has now taken the Barcelona deal out of the equation. Luis Diaz is their other option. Marcus Rashford is seen as the second option now, but Liverpool will not sell Diaz. They've already told Barcelona and Bayern Munich it's not happening. So Diaz will not be sold by Liverpool this summer. It only leaves Marcus Rashford. But the story that's just come out as well And this has come out from earlier on today. And it's come out from La Surf. I think it's a Spanish outlet. Big outlet as well. Just in, Marcus Rashford is awaiting a call from Barcelona. He has received other significant offers, and can't wait long for Barcelona. Barca are considering a loan with an option to buy for 40 million. Can United make something happen with Marcus Rashford in a permanent sale, rather than letting this one go to a loan? I've said all along, look, I don't mind. I'm accepting of the actual situation and where we're at. If Marcus Rashford is loaned out, I've come to terms with that. For the sake of this season and what's necessary and what Ruben Amorim needs, Manchester United might not be able to sell Marcus Rashford. But if they were willing to spend that much money on Nico Williams, is there a chance that United could get a deal out of Barcelona? This would be a miracle. I actually feel more confident about him going to Bayern Munich because they can afford Marcus Rashford. Barcelona can't. They've got Champions League football. Marcus Rashford wants to challenge and play at the highest level and win trophies. You're going to get it at Bayern Munich or Barcelona, whichever way you go. But Barca haven't got the money. Why would you want to go to that car crash of a run football club? Honestly, I get the appeal. Barcelona are massive. Absolutely huge. And to play at the Camp Nou every single week, that must be an absolute privilege. But you're not going to play. He's got a better chance of featuring under company at Bayern Munich than he has under Hansi Flick at Barcelona. 100%, I think. I mean, you can disagree if you want, but this story from Spain is saying that Marcus Rashford is not going to hang around for Barcelona to make their mind up. He has other offers on the table. Maybe this decision from Marcus Rashford not hanging around has come about since don't go there again. Since Ruben Amorim has told these players they're not coming back to pre-season. It's like, oh God, he's actually done this. Like, we're not going back. The old rule and the old system where the players used to stroll back into Carrington and get a second chance, them days are gone, which is why I was going on about Ruben at the start of the show, making such a massive impact in what he's done there. Rashford now has to find a football club. There may be a chance of getting a deal out of Barca, but I think it was TalkSport, Ben Jacobs also talking about this. A couple of other journalists have mentioned it. Marcus Rashford's link to Bayern Munich is real, and they would be interested in him. They were also looking at buying Nico Williams, Bayern Munich, but he has now signed with Bilbao, so he's off the table. They want a left-sided attacker. So let's see what develops from that one. But I think the player and his agent now have been told, and it is very clear from United's side, you're never going to play for this football club ever again. If you want to be playing football and in that Thomas Tuchel World Cup team that we've said, then this is it. Make something happen now. Get moving. I think these players, I personally didn't think, and that you could always say that they would have known about not coming back to Carrington straight away. But the fact that Chris Wheeler first came out with Marcus Rashford coming back and wanting to train kind of comes from the players' side. And Chris Wheeler would have contacted Marcus Rashford's representatives on this to try and put a clearer picture out there of like Marcus Rashford's attitude, wanting to come back and give absolutely everything. And straight away, Manchester United have come out under Ruben Amorim's instruction and said, no, that's not happening. You're not coming back. Go find a club. You're not training with us. You're not playing with us. Find somebody else. And this was what we've said all along, remember, with Marcus Rashford in particular. He's the one, and Garnacho, by the way, they want to be in that World Cup. That massive, massive event that's going on in the US next summer. They need to be playing football. They're going to have to make a decision. I think United are playing on that. Personally, from looking in on this, I think United are using that and saying, you thought you could just swan back in? Not happening. I think this is going to speed the process up now, if anything. Whether or not what I said before, the negative side of this and them looking like problems for other clubs and United not getting what they want comes into it, we will see. But on top of that, I think it just does get these players thinking now and their agents thinking, like, we're going to be sat out. We're not going to have played one pre-season game. We've not featured for our international teams because they don't want us. Maybe we do need to actually get a move on here and start finding a bleeding football club so we can get into this World Cup, because Garnacho and Rashford, I think, are miles away from their international teams right now for that World Cup. Right, some more chats. Glenn, super chat. Thank you, mate. Back in the day, the club gave fans a voice on its own channel through phone-ins, etc., but the Glazers took it away. You, Adam, give the fans that voice back. Thank you, Glenn. Legend, great comments. Brits Abroad says, if only the board had the balls after Ranić's famous statement, at least a Big Jim has has balls to allow Ruben to to rebuild. The twos threw me out there, mate. This is a genuine rebuild, folks. I'm not going to talk about whether Sir Jim has got 2, 1, whatever. I got tripped up by that one there. Oh, tripped my idiot. Sorry. You get what I'm on. You get what I was on about anyway, didn't you? Anyway, when it comes to Manchester, I've just seen someone else has sent me that tickled me. Oh God, people are tripping me up tonight. Sorry. Anyway, back to concentration mode, please, everyone. No, just me. When it comes to like I said before, the internationals, things like that, and going back to what Amorim said, this summer being the foundation for everything that moves forward with United, there's a great opportunity this summer when you look at everything that's in play here for United to really rinse this club out of the players that really are anchoring it down at the bottom of that Premier League. And then we can safely say we have got a football team with no fan having any excuse but to have a go at what these players are doing under this manager. You get what I'm saying by that? We can judge Amorim properly. The players are out that were causing a nightmare. Okay, so now we can't drop back on all this trouble behind the scenes. Everything that's going on, that's to blame. It's not the manager. It's all of that to blame, and everything going on, like the problems with the players, the ownership, everything, the prima donna attitude and bad culture at United, that's the problem. Don't blame what's on the pitch. We might actually be able to this season watch the football that's happening at United and judge it properly for the football and not think, oh, what's going on behind the scenes. We can actually start looking at it like a proper football fan, like we should have been able to do. But we've just been run like absolute clown. We've been run by clowns for so long that there's always been an excuse for this fan base to go back and say, no, you can't just blame the players. It's got to be something else that's going on behind the scenes. Rid ourselves of the shit. Judge everything properly, and we can actually analyse a real football season next year, hopefully. Anyway, that's enough from me again there on that one. Let's go into the chats again and get some more comments. At least the players will understand that no player is bigger than Manchester United, said James. Very, very true. Jack says July will be a busy month for United. Then there is going to be much going on. Baz says, I still think we will struggle to get rid of these players because of the stupid money they are on. Agreed, mate. Creativity in these transfers is a word that has been used a lot, and that kind of scares me a little bit because that means that United may lose out when it comes to it, but we have to get rid of them. Amorim is cleaning house. Don't panic, says Rochelle. Christopher says, have the aliens been seen? Have the aliens been seen yet? Question mark. DJ says, I guess we should be going balls to the wall next season. Jonathan in the chat. Hello, Jonathan. A good transfer window is when your league position improves and not had a good window under Ineos by that measurement. No, but they are only 1 year in. They did balls up at the start of last summer, didn't they? We all know what that decision was. But you are right, Jonathan. You are judged on improvement season on season. And they did not get off to a good start. Cannot argue with your comment there, mates. And on paper, they need to move up. I think the only way is up this season for Manchester United. Because if we go down, we go down. We literally get relegated. That's where we're at. If we're going to regret, we're going to regret not buying Jaziri while he's cheap. That boy is a monster CDM with high IQ, very tenacious, hardworking, hardly gets injured, and you can see the determination to be at the top, to be a top player. Sorry. Yeah, we will see. We will be. Greetings to you as well, Charles. We will be judging this window in September when that window passes. I think that will be something of interest to everybody, I think, to tune in for, to really look at what has gone and what has happened. So let's just see how that unfolds. But someone did put a comment in there saying Man United are weak in midfield. and our lighting midfield, I think was the word used. We are. And today, Ben Jacobs dropped another bomb on us in that Manchester United alongside Everton, check this one out everyone, are actually negotiating a £5 million transfer for Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester. He's actually come out and said that today. I've got a tweet in front of me right now. Manchester United and Everton negotiating with Leicester for the £5 million transfer of Wilfred Ndidi. Like, the forgotten man. The Leicester man. He has got a relegation clause in his contract where he can leave. And that's still at £9 million now. And United are still trying to lowball that, it would seem, in the desperation situation that Leicester are in with financial fair play. By the way, everybody, did you see the news come out from UEFA? Both Aston Villa and Chelsea fined by UEFA. The Chelsea one, interestingly, they fall short of it again. Their fines could be upwards of $107 million. And not as much for Aston Villa. Theirs could go up to about $20 million if they're done again. So they have been fined now a certain amount of money. And then in the next 3 years, if they have come under them rules again, or broke them rules again, then they will be fined even more money. And so UEFA really raking it in terms of the money and what they're getting off these football clubs from financial fair play this summer. But yes, that's the news going around. Martin Ziegler has reported that, and it has been broke. I think Romano broke it down as well in the clubs that have actually been fined. I think it was Roma, obviously Lyon as well. We're all aware of that situation. Barcelona, Chelsea and Aston Villa all being fined by UEFA. But Chelsea's is an interesting one. Chelsea's could go up to somewhere near $107 million in fines. Ouch. Back to Ndidi, by the way, everybody. Get into the comments section. I would take Ndidi, says Richard. June says Ndidi would be our third best midfielder, way better than Mainu. Oh. Does anyone think Ndidi still got it? Like, why was he never signed by anybody? He was the biggest and best thing and biggest prospect coming through when he was in his heyday at Leicester. And now he's just disappeared. Still in his 20s, by the way. Might be a snip at $5 million if we can get him for that. Ndidi is just a squad player, says Jack. Could do a job for us, though. Like, if you're looking to save money and go all in on a striker, would you have Ndidi or would you have Douglas Luiz, who's going to cost more? I actually think United would go for Ndidi over Douglas Luiz, to be honest. Better injury record, just as much Premier League experience, if not more. Has actually done a lot more and won a lot more. So we can say that as well. And as a squad player in rotation for United, another number. Maybe do a job. Maybe do a job for us. I don't know. I'm in that position again that I always talk about, where you start to convince yourself as a fan that this is actually a good move, when really you're buying another player that's going to be relegated, that's just been relegated. You could say that about Delap as well, though. Has anyone got Michael Knighton's phone number? He was hilarious at Old Trafford. The guy always popped up on the scene, didn't he? An hour of need. Yeah. What happened to Manchester City charges, Adam, says Charles. Wow, mate, honestly, if I knew, I would be broadcasting it everywhere, mate. I have no idea why we don't know. We should have known in spring is the word. Should have known in spring. But it has been put on the back burner again. The Guardian are reporting the interest from Mohamed Kudus in... actually, I'll just read it out for you now, actually. Kudus has interest from Manchester United, Chelsea and Newcastle. Kudus has a release clause of $85 million applicable to Premier League sides for the first 10 days of July. Sources believe that West Ham will potentially do business at $60 million. Now, they've already turned down a bid from Spurs for $50 million, I think it is, for Mohamed Kudus. So, I don't get it. At the end of the day, United are not going to spend that much money on Kudus, and that's just a story that's out there in the open. I thought I'd just bring it to you so you knew exactly what was going on. While we're at it, I'm just going to go through the stories to make sure that we're not missing out on anything quickly before we move on to our next story. Yeah, it looks like Kyle Walker is on his way back to the Premier League with Burnley. Interesting. $5 million, 2-year contract. Back in the Northwest. Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. And you know what I mean by that as well. But yeah, they're the nothing that has broke well. We've been live. Onto the goalkeeping situation. A few people were laughing off the story from midday today about Manchester United looking at John Victor. John Victor, the goalkeeper at Brazilian side, Serie A Brazilian side, Botafogo, who's been competing in the Club World Cup for them, only conceding 3 goals. Actually, no, conceding 2 goals in normal time in their opening games. 4 of them, 2 goals in 90 minutes. So decent, playing along there against PSG, Atletico Madrid, Palmeiras. Obviously getting results against 2 of them as well. Good goalkeeper from what I've seen in that competition, from the highlights. I'm not going to act like I've seen this kid play. He is 29, 6'5", looks a bit of a beast, to be honest. Looks like he's got hands like shovels. Massive from the pictures that we've seen. United looking to get a deal done between, from the stories I've seen so far, 6 to 10 million quid. This deal gets done. More and more Brazilian sources are talking about this more than anything, doing the rounds on social media and a few different websites now, and a few tabloids, that John Victor is the decision that Manchester United have made on the goalkeeper. So when you look at it, and we're looking at the players that we actually need, Ruben's told these 5 players, sling your hook. We know about Rasmus Højlund leaving as well, or potentially leaving. So that would leave Manchester United with a bit of work to do. I make that. So you need an 8, you need a goalkeeper. You also need 2 strikers after you sign Bryan Mbeumo. So that, for me, when you talk about what we've just gone through there transfer-wise, Ndidi is your midfielder, cheap, because they can't afford anyone else this season, and we just need someone experienced enough to be a squad player as well. Obviously, next summer we can buy a midfielder if we've got the right money. The goalkeeper, cheap. Basically talking about bringing in John Victor and Wilfred Ndidi in 2 positions that United need to fix for, 15 million quid? It's pretty cheap, isn't it? 2 positions done. And then you put everything that you make and every single last penny you've got into a striker. And you know where I'm going with this here. Is there any chance that one of them big name strikers is going to come back later in this window when United have made all of the money, rectified a few other situations in other positions we need, and sold certain players, and go back in for a big striker? And the names I'm thinking about here are, there's 3 of them that jump out at me. Sesko, Gyökeres, Watkins. And I'm only bringing Sesko in because there is still no bleeding decision on which way Arsenal are going to go. I don't think Arsenal are going to buy both because they are genuinely in for Rodrigo. I talked about that on Football Talks earlier on. That is a real thing. That's crazy, isn't it? It is. But Manchester United, I think, are waiting it out on the striker. And I think we could see something happen later on in the window on that. United now, get Mbeumo done. By the way, I don't know if this story is absolutely true. I've been talking about Mbeumo a lot. A lot of people have been absolutely slating me and slagging me off, calling out my sources and everything on Bryan Mbeumo. They're not really sources. I'm just reporting what people are saying. I'm not claiming to be in the know. I'm a fan on a fan channel. Settle the F down, for God's sake. Don't stress yourself about it too much, please. Most of the people on this channel, like I said, are absolute legends and talk sense. But all I do is search out, research, read through, contact what I can, and find out as much information as I can, and then read it out, and we can discuss it as a fan base. But from what I know, from looking around and what is actually happening, this is the latest one that I have heard, and it's from our old friend from last summer. And he did get Matthias de Ligt right. Almost got Sancho right last summer as well. There is a agreement with Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford to Manchester United for 60 plus 2.5 million in add-ons, and the striker will sign a contract until 2030 on 195 grand a week. I don't believe it. Is what I'm saying. I don't think that is real, because I know that Brentford wants all of the money for Bryan Mbeumo up front in terms of the valuation of the 62.5 million. If United get this for 60 million and add-ons on top of that, they've done well. is what I'm being told right now, and what I've listened to from Ben Jacobs today is that the second bid, he broke it down. The second bids and the third bids are the important ones. If the second bid is rejected outright, then forget it. It's going to be a tough old ask. If the second bid isn't agreed and discussions continue, it's not so much a rejection, it's more of a restructure of that deal. So the price is right. The ballpark figure is right. And Ben Jacobs said it today. Talking on Give Me Sport, he said that the price that Manchester United have put down for Brentford is acceptable. And Brentford know it's acceptable. They are structuring it just to make sure that it fits them. And these are the minor details now. And that's all that anybody keeps on saying. But what we do know is that Manchester United want Bryan Mbeumo in. Ben Jacobs said, look, from what he said, and this is a man that has featured on several YouTube channels now, and everybody's quoting what Ben Jacobs has said, and on TalkSport. I can think of about 4 channels and TalkSport where he said this. So anybody having to go at me, or say for instance Sully, for having to go what he said, and this not actually happening, Ben Jacobs is saying there's still 2 days of this week left, because he's including the weekend, that this deal can still get done. And United can get the medical done. They have already pre-arranged the medical. That is genuinely what he said is ready and is happening at United. And so that's him that everybody's talking about right now, and everybody's getting quotes off. And so, yeah, have a go at me if you want on this. It's these people that we're reading the information out of, and it's not just me doing it. We all know what we're in here. We're fans hoping that something's going to happen, and we're trying to cling on to any significant story that we possibly can. Like last night, Marco Alcaraz said that the bid has gone in, and the improved restructure of this actual offer is there now. We're just waiting. I don't know what we're waiting for. We're getting a little bit impatient, that's all I'll say. And I've said this before, and I said it again. I'll say it again tonight. I'll start to get concerned if we start rolling up to Carrington and there's no Bryan Mbeumo there. I've said this all along. I'm happy for this deal to roll out as long as it needs to, as long as we get the bleeding deal done. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Let's run through a few chats before we actually finish out on the show. Thank you, everybody, again. Of Super Chats, we have got nearly 700 live likes, everybody, which is absolutely epic. Again, thank you. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. By the way, the poll, quickly, before moving to that. We've had the poll running throughout the show. There's over 2,500 votes on it. Which player will be the hardest to sell? Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, or Antony? Antony, 3%. Garnacho, 15%. Sancho, 31%. And Mr. Belfast Bebe himself, Marcus Rashford, leading the way on 51% of the votes. Yes, I'm going to end that poll there. Thank you for getting involved in that. Short amount will still be there, Adam. Maybe not next summer, though, mate. That's what we're saying. Next summer, and let's be honest, Manchester United with Shaw and Mount, I'd rather be dealing with just them two than the mess that we've got right now. At least they actually featured for Man United this season. You could argue Shaw's participation always, I get it. But next summer, they won't be there, I don't think. A decision will be made on Mount. I think he'll be moved on next summer. And I think Luke Shaw will be given his farewell. I just don't see how he fits into that. I think there's 5 centre-backs ahead of him. And with United bringing in another left-back and Harry Mass wanting to stay alongside Dorgu and Dalot, who can actually play on the left as well, I don't know where Luke Shaw fits in. I don't know where he plays. No idea. But anyway, that will wrap things up nicely for us, everyone. Thank you for the likes. Please hit that subscribe button as well on the way out. It helps the channel no end. I want to get into, obviously, everything again tomorrow morning. Hopefully there's a lot of action tonight and we get a bit more news. Please do check out everything that's going on with the channel. I've got a link for all of the retro shirts and the kits that I have been wearing up there in the live chat. It's also in the description, everybody. If you haven't checked out the store already, great bargains, found it, and just wanted to share it with you guys. Go check it out. All of the kits there. Some fantastic stuff there as well. Some tracksuits and great training tops as well. Really cheap, quick delivery as well. And it washes and fits absolutely bang on the money. Check out the size guides on there as well, everyone, to make sure you get the right sizes. And I will see you all in the morning. The weekend is here, everyone. Let's see. Again, I got a feeling something else might break tonight yet, but we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, mods. Great job again, as always. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all Saturday.